Welcome to Iron Insights, where faith and leadership forge together. I am Amanda Pierce, sitting down with Christian business leaders to explore how they build strong organizations, lead high-performing teams, contribute to their community, and create a culture rooted in kingdom values. Join us for honest conversations and actionable insights as we strengthen our calling and lead with purpose. This is Iron Insights. Let's get started. And hello, friends, and welcome back to another exciting episode. I am your host, Amanda Pierce, and I am joined by a new friend of mine, Jay Lowery. He is the CEO and owner of True Blue Total House Care. Welcome to the show, Jay.
Hi, Amanda. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Thank you for joining me. I'm so glad to have you.
Well, it's an honor to be here, so thank you.
Let's set our listeners up for success. I met you at a FBX meeting not too long ago. And for those listening that aren't local, that is the Forsyth Business Exchange. And it's actually put on by a friend of ours, Melanie Zeman. So I'm sure you could Google that and figure out how to. It's a closed networking group that meets with some pretty high caliber individuals, and we shared a beautiful lunch on the patio at a golf course.
Yes, and the lunch is always good too. So
it was good.
You can't go wrong there. Food, good company. That's
where I met you, and you and I kind of had a kingdom connection because as Christ followers and as business owners in the coming area, I'd love for you to share a little bit about your business and then the conception behind it and kind of your story, if you will, Jay.
Sure. I guess we'll talk about True Blue. We're the coming in Dawsonville service area, so we're right in the middle of it right here. True Blue was actually created, interestingly enough, it's a franchise. The franchise was created by police officers and firemen. They would come together on their days off, or they get together on days off and help out people in the community, oftentimes seniors, and try to help them just do the odds and ends around their house that they needed done and keep them safe. And it skyrocketed from there. They grew faster than they could handle it on their days off, and it eventually turned into a business that was franchisable. And I am once a conservation officer of law enforcement. It's interesting to get that part of it there too. So because just that little connection just helped bring us into True Blue. It kind of let us know that, well, it had good roots to start off with and something similar to what I am too. So
you know what? I'm usually good with marketing and names, but that didn't stand out to me. Makes
the blue, I know.
All the more awesome. Now, one thing that you mentioned when I met you, as it's important because I myself have the inconvenience of taking a shower and stepping into my tub. What stood out to me is you do something that is very economical and very practical for folks that have accessibility issues.
Sure.
And help me out here because it's with a tub and it's a metamorphosis, and cue your expertise.
Well, okay, so we could do a total variety of things. You know, if someone's got $7 million they want to spend on a bathroom, you could call me. We could figure something out. But most people don't have that infinite budget like that. So some of the more efficient things that we do, there's something called a clean cut, and you can just look up clean cut online. They've got great videos on how it all works online, but we basically go in and cut the side of your existing tub out, or at least a good portion of it, about 2 feet, a little bit more than 2 feet wide of it. And we put an insert so that you effectively have a walk-in shower in the tub that you already have. So, and what the benefit to that is, number one, is really quick. We can do it in a day. And the second part is that you're not talking near the budget that you would for the total shower conversion. Like I said, we can pull the tub out and put showers in, and we can do anything like that you need to as well. But this is just one of those little things that I love because, in particular, the senior community a lot of times do not have that infinite budget, fixed income oftentimes, and it's something that I've seen go in $2 million houses or less than $50,000 houses because it's something that you can save up for, or it looks good, but it also works very effectively. So,
you know, that's just so practical because not everybody would have the ability to reconfigure their bathroom for that conversion. So it's a really simple fix. That's just what stood out to me when we met. You described that in that short 30 seconds that you had to introduce yourself.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Very effectively. So going along with the larger scope of service that you provide, you are joining us now with a full belly because you enjoyed lunch at Joyful Noise.
Yeah, First Redeemer has Joyful Noise once a month, the second Monday, I believe. So if you're hungry, you can run in there and get something to eat and listen to some Christian music.
If you're hungry, you can go there and you can be fed in more ways than one.
Yes, that's kind of multidimensional, but yes, I like that. So
feed your spirit and get your belly full.
That's the other thing about, this. We're talking about True Blue, but we're also talking about me too. I do a little bit of. I've got a connection to the music. I was played trumpet all the way through high school. Joined the Army band. I was in upstate New York, Fort Drum, because when I was given the option of staying close in Alabama or New York, I thought, I got to get away as far as I can when I'm getting out, as soon as I get out of the house. Of course, by the time I finished my training, I realized I'd made a big mistake as far as where I thought I wanted when I got done with my training. But ultimately, it was a really good trip up there. I got to meet a lot of people in Fort Drum. But that was my music to begin with now. So
how long did you serve?
For 3 years.
3 years. And you said you played the trumpet.
Yes, I played trumpet.
How exciting. So that's why you're kind of tied into the music. Do you still play?
Yeah, I've traded my trumpet for guitar now. So I play guitar at, I'll go to the Oaks at Hampton. I play there and several of the senior facilities around. I go play at a praise band up in Gainesville sometimes. So I've actually about every Sunday morning I go up there in Gainesville now. So
very cool. Now, I want to speak to you about your passion for the industry and just learn a little bit more about you, if I may. So tell me, you said you started this business. You are a former military man with an enthusiastic background for people in service. And did you mention that you were also in the police force?
We talked to that. Yes, I was like a conservation officer, game warden in North Alabama for 16 years. And you're trying to figure out, so what's the connection between game warden
help me out. Thank you.
Out here? So
other than service, because you're serving in every aspect of what you've done.
Exactly. So I'm going to go back a little bit further. So let's go back to Fort Drum, New York. I'm sitting around with some of my friends eating lunch, and this kid comes in, and he is just a terror, and he's giving his mom all he can. And I turn over to my friends and say, hey, if you give me that kid for a day, I'll show you how to take care of that. Because, as 19 years old, you've got all the answers. What I did not really think about was that God listens, and he gives you what you ask for sometimes. And I can say that because there's a happy ending to this story, but my son was born with Asperger's syndrome. And we, as I had been a game warden in Alabama for 16 years, we reached a point where we didn't have enough, or we just needed more assistance than we could find in North Alabama. Huntsville is a very great area, but we just kind of ran out of the autism assistance area there. So we ended up doing an internet search. My wife got online and looked all over the place, Boston, California, and we found Jacob's Ladder in Roswell, Georgia. And I won't say miracle. I will hold that for a little bit higher, but they are just an incredible organization. And they gave Jackson, who could not stay in a classroom setting the whole time, he spent 5 years there. And when he left there, he went back into Lambert High School, and he went there for 2 years and graduated with a 4.0. Wow. So he went from being just not teachable to above expectations. And I attribute a lot of things. I mean, family and God, especially. There's lots of prayers going on here while this is going on. But the school, they really incorporate a lot of things that you can it's the whole soul, body, mind, spirit. Everything is combined together there to help the kids find what they need and come up with like an IEP that you would see, but it's much more in depth than you would have a regular IEP here in the local system. So.
You said the Lord served you up a fresh, hot plate of. You asked for it.
He gave me exactly what I asked for, and we had with my wife, not knowing I'd made this little deal with God here years and years before we ever met. We found ourselves in a situation where we just didn't know what to do. So we did get on the internet. We found that. So for a year, we drove back and forth. We had a little place down in Roswell, an apartment. So I would come in Monday night. I would leave after 5 o'clock, get here, take Jackson to school Tuesday, Wednesday. Tracy would come over, And we would tag right there, and she would take over Thursday, Friday, while I came back and worked Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday as a game warden. And she was a online veterinarian at the time, so she could do that in both locations. So it was a hard, but it was a good time as well. During that time, I really got more connected, I think, with God, and that just having some of those times when things are really. We were in church yesterday. We talked about how sometimes praise you in the storm. Have you ever heard that song? Mm-hmm. It's easy. There's no really easy in this world. But when you're in some of your lowest points, that's when you can really make that connection, and you can find when there feels like there's nobody else around, or there's no one that can really understand what you're going through because you're a unique individual. But when you reach out to God in those times, that's when you make a connection that you can actually feel. You can feel him being around you, and you can feel him lift you up. And then, of course, you need other people around you like mine. That helps out tremendously when you've got a lot of people building together, and everybody kind of floats the boat there. We help each other out. And if someone's sinking, you reach down, grab them, bring them back up. And they can help you out the same way. So, and that's kind of where we're at right now here. So after we left there, Jackson finished up. I actually spent some time working with the Boy Scouts, but I was what they call the district executive there, and I helped them with a lot of their I would say it was like a liaison almost position between the Boy Scouts and the leaders, and helping them organize things. But during that time, we found True Blue. And my wife and I had both had relatives who had really needed some senior care, some assistance in their house. My uncle fell in his house, and it was a really rough situation for him. My wife's aunt, her uncle passed away, and her aunt was there, and we were just, at this time when we came across True Blue, providing, the niche for True Blue is really to help seniors age in place. Help them be able to modify their home so that they can stay there and not need to move into an assistance facility of some type if they don't want to. And a lot of people don't want to. They want to be right there at your home. So when we just made that connection, and right about that same time, it was a good decision. It was an easy decision at that point. So that was around 2020, I guess, and around 2021 in January we started doing business. So we've been, I guess, what year is it now? 2025. Oh, gosh. These things have flown by. So, yeah.
So wait a minute. I hate talking about the dang pandemic, but you kind of lifted off right then?
Yeah. What else would you?
Good for you. I mean, I don't know. People were just barring life at the time, but yeah. I'm glad that you were able to plant your feet and start thriving. You mentioned something that is so important. Helping people age in place. It's... the word that comes to mind is dignity, okay? Sure. Yeah. That you're allowing people to keep their dignity, because going into an assisted living or going into any other type of setting, there's nothing like your home, okay?
Well, and some people thrive in that assisted living community, and I'm a witness to groups of people who just love the life that they have there, and some people don't, and that's what we're trying to. I mean, I'll help them out at the facilities too. We actually go into several places and install some of the clean cuts that we mentioned at some places. So, but to be able to go in and aging in place means something different for each person that you talk to. Mm-hmm. Some people, they need a grab bar installed in their shower. Mm-hmm. We do that. If you need one grab bar installed in your shower, we'll run in there and put that in there for you. No problem. There will be questions asked because I have to know things, right. But no questions asked. But
so that brings me to my question, talking more about your business and your ideal client. Is there any job too big or small?
Well, we don't build houses.
Okay. Hey, it's a valid question.
Exactly. We just kind of take things on a case-by-case basis. We could do a total bathroom remodel if we needed to, or we could do simply the clean cut install or a grab bar. So we don't just do bathrooms. I mean, that's one of the things that we run into. So the statistics, we like to use those here in different industries. But I think the one that stands out to me is that 1 in 4 people over 65 fall each year. So 25% of someone's 65 or older are going to fall down. That's just statistics. And 80% of senior falls occur in the bathroom. So, Yes, we want to focus and help on ramps and things like that throughout the house, widening doorways if we need to get into, if you have wheelchair or walker accessibility. But the bathroom is just, I mean, that's the room where the floor is wet and you stand on 1 foot. I mean, what?
It's true.
I mean, anybody, it doesn't really matter your age. That's going to be a more hazardous area for anybody there too.
So out of all of the projects that you've done far and wide over the past 5 years, tell me about one of the most intricate projects that you've completed and one of the most interesting.
Probably the most intricate one. So again, it's not all about just the senior things, but we installed a home theater for someone in their basement, and complete with risers, a bar in the back, and it was between 3 and 4 months to do the installation because it was completely inclusive, taking tray ceilings down and putting things back, and a little bit of redesigning here, there, and everywhere. So that was the one, and it looked really cool when we were done with the lighting. And I worked with a company, Home Theaters, and they did the actual technical part with the screens. But we built. I mean, this had like not a false wall. It had a front wall that the screen went up. It had a cutout. They had a perforated screen so that the sound from the speakers came from behind the screen, came through the screen right at you there, and it had speakers all the way around the room. It was an intricate project that took a long time to do, but when we were finished, it was really cool.
Very nice. All right, Home Theaters.
And what was the other part?
Something interesting. One of the most interesting things. I have some more questions, but these relate to your game warden days, so I'll save those for just a moment.
Let's see. The most interesting. That's hard to think of.
It doesn't have to be interesting to the world. Interesting to you.
Yeah.
Like I just learned that I have PEX piping at my condo because I had a leak that was bleeding 11 gallons per hour before Christmas. So nice. I find PEX piping very intriguing, but I find that others don't. I only find it intriguing because of that instance.
I see. One of the, I mentioned to you that there was a house less than 50,000 probably. I think that's probably one of the most interesting things. And so we are a business. We have to make money to survive. And that's the thing. We're not a nonprofit. I kind of wish we could do that somehow where we don't charge anybody. We just go fix things. That'd be awesome. But one of the things that we ran into is we had a family who we went to, and we got there, and the house may have been closer to $10,000 in total value. It was not a great house. There was love in the house, but everybody has their own situation. And the kids had gotten together to help so that they could afford this clean cut for their mom. And we went in, we put it in, and I just thought it was really cool that even though this was not anywhere near the $2 million house that we were down in Sandy Springs that we did an installation in, they had the exact same equipment, and it was affordable for them, the same price both ways. And it was not so highly priced that they could not afford it. And it gave their kids something that they could feel proud about and good about, knowing their mom was safe. And it made me feel happy just because knowing that I don't have to charge $5,000 to make this lady or $10,000 to make this lady's bathroom safe for her. Yeah. So I don't know. That's just one thing that I've saved the picture on my phone. I don't share it with everybody, but it's just kind of one of those little reminders that I could, when I send the pictures through, someone asks, well, what do they look like? And I can say, well, we've got a broad spectrum of houses that we put them in. And it just makes a difference to know that there is an option for people who sometimes don't realize that there is an option for things like that. So,
well, I can tell that your heart is definitely in your work and you have a passion for service. That's for sure. So tell me what's next for you, Jay. You're involved in the community. You've got a thriving family. You've got a established and successful business. And anybody that's out there that hears this podcast, if you'd like to get in touch with Jay because you might like his services or a kingdom connection, you can visit them online. But what do you foresee in the next 3, 5, 10?
So I'll stay short term because I do have short term, long term. So from a business standpoint, we look at several different options. We work with commercial, we work with residential, primarily residential. So we look for all opportunities. We want the business to grow. Just as a business owner, you don't want to cut off opportunities before you fully investigate them. I guess for Short term, we take all calls that come in and we evaluate them. We try to help people out whatever they have problems with. We're looking. I'd love to be able to work with more schools like we are at Jacob's Ladder. We're actually developing a prevention program for them so that we go. Literally, it's interesting. It's almost like the same thing that they do for our kids when they show up there. We'll do an intake evaluation that takes several days to walk through the property and just notate everything that you run into there, and then give them a health statement of sorts to their property so that we can keep that going. And they've asked that we probably try to come in once a month and just look at everything. If there's a crack in the foundation here, just look at it next month and just kind of keep things abridged and focus on priority repairs that need to be done, then swap it out. And we want to focus on that and try to look at things like that for schools and small commercial. You can think of a lot of things. We have our guys we have good people. When I hire somebody, they have been vetted. They will know how to conduct themselves. They're going to be polite and courteous and clean and all those things. And they're also pass background checks. So when we go on the place like the schools, I want to make sure that they know what's going on and that they are the right person for that setting, which makes them the right person for just about any setting. When they can make that criteria, it's the same with the senior living there. And so that same thing that we did with the schools that we're working with there, we also have that for homes for just throughout the community. Like if you say, just like your mom. So it would be kind of neat for you if you could make a monthly payment, and then once every 3 months somebody goes and takes care of those things at your parents' house.
And she didn't have to worry about it?
So she doesn't fall off the ladder to change the light bulb and all that kind of stuff. So we have programs like that. So
people can retain you?
Yeah.
That's cool.
We could do a maintenance plan there, so we can do that for people here. For either the kids, we found the adult kids sometimes pay, can cover that the price for that, or the parents can, just whatever situation arises there. So, but we just don't really limit to. I want to say I'm growing. We've kind of built a little bit of momentum this last year. So I'm just excited about where we're going over the next several years. I'd like to have. I've got 2 crews right now. I'd like to have 4. That's just the business part of it. From when you're looking at what your goals here. We just finished up. Derek Brooks.
Yes.
You know Derek Brooks.
Love him. Brandywine is it?
Brandywine. We sat with him the end of December, and we had a little class there, and we kind of made up our goals looked at the last year and made plans for the new year, and it was really cool. So,
Jay, I have enjoyed. Thank you for sticking with me in my round robin conversation. I want to make sure that I give you the chance to share anything and everything relevant to our listeners about your business. So, is there anything that I left out?
We kind of talked a little bit about everything, haven't we?
Cool.
So we look at all things. If I could just go in and just help seniors 100% of the time, that's really what this organization was designed to do. But we've learned to do lots of different things, not just that. Yeah. So we help with decks, we help with wall painting, just this, that, and the other, everything that comes along that you would think. Remodeling or handyman, we just do a little bit of everything. So
thank you for joining us, and you guys can visit that website at www.true, and that's TRU, blue like the color, housecare.com/coming-Dawsonville. We are on the north side of Atlanta, and if you'd like to network with Jay and I, you can find us out there in the community. Visit AmandaPierch.com to learn more about purpose-driven podcasting.